Evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Alan Iden, and you have just seen the first session of Winchester's Fall 2025 Town Meeting adjourned at this somewhat late hour. So let's do a quick recap of what has happened tonight in this first session. We opened the meeting with some memory of some notable residents, notable town people who have passed since the Springtown meeting. Mike Allen, a crossing guard. William Giracy, a town meeting member. Tom Svigny, member of Rotary and the Historical Society. And of course, Bob Newtile, well known for his championship of baseball and sports here in the town, and whose namesake West Side Field is there. Consent agenda they were voted on several articles, numerous articles that had no debate on them, and we went on for the first half of the meeting to the reports of the town officials. We heard from the select board talking about the search for a new town manager, the capital needs of the town, that later on this meeting there'll be the first voting use of the Community Preservation Act, CPA funds, the repairs to Morocco School, lights in Ginn Field, the Shore Road Bridge repair, and about $1.6 million in grants received, and some improvements to the procedures at the transfer station, including composting. We heard from Athena Brady, about the proposal to establish a Human Rights Commission. This will be coming before a spring town meeting to look into rights violations. She said all surrounding towns have them, and the memberships and tasks will be coming before a spring town meeting. Finance Committee said there were 200 years of experience on the Finance Committee, but 95% of the funds to run the town come from residential property taxes. Fixed and variable costs are rising. The free cash is adequate, which is important to keep the town's AAA bond rating. A deficit of $3 to $5 million is anticipated, though, for the coming fiscal year because inflation is outpacing revenue growth. School committee reports talked about meetings over the summer, said safety and security is a priority, plans to improve literacy, collective bargaining issues are being worked on. There were plans for the application to rebuild the Morocco School. There were elementary school playground improvements all through the system. There was a new cafeteria, library, and paint at Morocco. The Winchester High School gym floor is completely finished. And of course, the town's brand new Lynch Elementary School opened in September. We heard from a report of the State of the Town Committee that looking into new resources. This is an ongoing project, looking into new resources for funding to put the town on a solid financial footing ahead of any crisis. The need to create comprehensive plans and find resources beyond real estate taxes. There were members from various boards and hundreds of pages of work so far, we heard. School committee, they're looking at the school committee needs for 5 years. Municipal needs are generally good but need to be tweaked. Capital needs, coordinations with the Community Preservation Act, utilization of the capital base like Mystic School, which will be voted to transfer that from the school committee to the town. And also to reduce the impact of the override on vulnerable populations in the town. Library trustees were, the chair of the library trustees said the library is well supported by the town, maintains accreditation. There are many assets available to borrow for free, and there are new security cameras installed. We heard from the 9-member Climate Action Advisory Board talking about implementing the 2020 Climate Action Plan to reduce carbon emissions and improve climate change resiliency. The town has been named a climate leader by the state, and apparently that was just received just tonight, just before town meeting. It makes the town eligible for up to $1 million in grants over the next 3 years. Talked about the new digesters at the transfer station for composting, and increasing the awareness of the goals, and the Climate Action Committee has their new logo. Robert's Rules Committee, we heard from Peter Haley about the plan to replace Robert's Rules, the rules under which town meeting operates, with town meeting time rules, which apparently have been adopted by many of the towns here in New England. Some bylaw changes will be needed, and he also said all town meeting members should treat each other with respect. The Field Management Committee talked about their job is to maintain the state-of-the-art fields. They suggest and monitor rules and regulations, and there are two funds, one for the artificial and the other for the natural turf fields. After recess, we came back. Article 2 was a report of the Planning Board. Thanks to kudos to the board and staff from the chair. Thanks to Suzanne Gill, who recently retired from the Planning Board, from the engineering office. There were two projects on the board. Currently is 972 Main Street, which is 13 condos. It's the first development in the new North Main Street zoning district, where the recently Meineke repair shop was. And of course, a big project that was now called 33 Mount Vernon Street, which was Converse Place. That project is being reviewed. It's underway. He said actually there's a review of that tomorrow night, Tuesday night, by the Planning Board. The Article 4 was, and that's, of course, that report was accepted. Article 4 was zoning changes, some tweaking of the zoning changes as a result of the MBTA overlay district. Some qualifications for affordable units were rounded up, now will be rounded down. The bottom line was to make affordable requirements the same in the center, the MBTA overlay district, and in the North Main Street district. State approvals were all approved. State approvals were received on all of those, and that passed. Article 5 was to add property at 2A Rangeley Ridge to the Rangeley Park Historic Heritage District. Excuse me. There were 19 current residents in that, so this would bring it up to 20. That was passed. The Capital Planning Committee was told that the Finance Committee said their job is unsexy but unavoidable, quote unquote. There's a lot of town hall projects needed. It's been 35 years since the last major renovation in town hall. Talked about the proposal to reconstruct Sims Corner. In that case, the town will design it. The state will pay for it. There's going to be a need for $2.5 million in new fire equipment over the next 2 years, and a proposal to demolish the carriage house up next to the Sanborn House on High Street. So that was a report that was passed. The final article, the evening Article 8, was for 19 capital projects. Biggest one being $2.5 million for the chiller at the Lincoln School, which was well beyond its normal life. It's 24 years old. And then there were 18 other motions, some money coming from the capitalization fund, but most of the discussion was on the Sims proposal for Sims Corner redesign and Kenwin Road traffic calming. A lot of comments on that, mostly from Kenwin Road residents. The total was going to be $4.5 million for the total, all 19, but because of the discussion on Kenwin Road and Sims Corner, those were pulled out. There was a $4.1 million vote for all of them except those two motions, and then separate votes for $300,000 for design studies and the Sims Corner reconstruction. That was passed. And $150,000 for the calming features on Kenwin Road was passed. I'm not going to read all the capital projects, but just some of them were, usual, like a dump truck or a vehicle for the recreation department and the health department. If you have a copy of the warrant, those were in there. But again, all those other articles, all those other motions were passed by town meeting to go forward. And that brings us to the end of the first session of Winchester's Fall 2025 town meeting. We want to thank all of you for watching. Hopefully the summaries are useful to you. We want to thank the WinCam staff here, the 3 members of the WinCam staff here at the Winchester High School. And as always, for all, on behalf of the WinCam staff, I'd like to thank you for watching. My name's Alan Iden. Have a great night.